Hassan Black, money man for the Black Mayhem Mafia, is known for his wild and reckless behavior. Out of his brothers, Hassan is the one that often finds himself bringing the most trouble to the family. Even though he has his vices and demons, like all men, Hassan has positive qualities that makes him an asset not only to the family business, but women as well. The playboy, Hassan has more women than he can juggle, but he's willing to discard them all if it means securing the love of Vanna Lewis. Vanna has never valued the love of a man. If anything, she sees men as a way to elevate to the next phase of her life. Used to using her charm, beauty, and appeal to get whatever she wants, Vanna meets her match with Hassan. She can't deny the instant attraction they share and must completely switch up how she typically handles men. The two fight against their brewing love for as long as they can, but because of his brother and her best friend's relationship, they find themselves together often. One night of intimacy leads to the conception of their first child. Unfortunately, having a baby on the way doesn't make settling down as easy as Hassan thought it would be, and he learns the hard lesson Vanna lives by. She doesn't get mad, she gets even. Ever been listening to your favorite podcast and think, hey, I want to start my own? Then you need Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First, everyone's favorite word, free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome back to my podcast. Today's episode is Her Deep Reverence, Pregnant by a Black Mafia Don by Beloved. Now, I know I said 2 weeks ago that I would be doing these 4 books and then possibly Siobhan Latrice's third part of King and Queen of the Hood, but it dropped earlier than I expected, so I did that one first, and now we're jumping back into the Black Mayhem Mafia series. So this book is Vanna and Hassan's story, and let's jump right into it. So after Scarlett left, Vanna completely cuts Hassan off. So now that Scarlett is back and they're celebrating her pregnancy, the two have to see each other again. So when the drama with Scarlett was going on, Hassan had took Vanna and put her up in a hotel, to keep her safe, and to protect her from the situation with Malcolm. But when she stopped answering him, he had been calling, texting, and she just would not respond, he stops paying for the hotel. So she's woken up by phone calls from the front desk telling her, checkout was at this time and you're like an hour behind. And so she packs up her stuff and picks back up a relationship with one of her little yes who promises to take care of her. I got you, don't worry about it. And he lets her stay with him and tells her, I'll buy you a car, don't worry about it, you can stay with me, till you get yourself together. And what started out as a good situation quickly turns sour because he comes home one day and is like, why didn't you clean the house? Why dinner ain't ready? Basically expecting a housewife/maid situation, and she tells him no, that's not what I'm here for, and I don't have to do those things for you. And it becomes an argument, and he pushes her and she hits her face on one of the legs of the bed, and it scratches her face. So she immediately jumps up and they get into a fight, and when it's over, she runs to her mom. Now, her mom is cleaning up her face while telling her that she can stay for maybe a day, maybe even 2. Then after that, she has to find out what she's going to do. But Vanna tells her, she already has some things lined up, so she will not be there long. And her mom, like, they don't have a good relationship, so she's really not trying to stay there with her anyway. So the Blacks are all together, and Scarlett answers a FaceTime from Vanna, and, you know, like, she's immediately upset, like, what the fuck happened to your face? What's going on? Because she's supposed to be at the party with them, but she's FaceTiming Scarlett to tell her that she wouldn't be able to make it. And she's trying to, joke it off like, you should see his face. And it's like, girl, this is not a laughing matter. What's wrong with your face? And although he is trying to act as if he doesn't care or if he's not listening, when Hassan hears about her face being messed up, he comes over and takes Scarlett's phone and says, what's his name? And Vanna is like, no, you don't have to do that. And he's like, I'm not playing with you. What is his name? So she gives it to him. And at first, Hassan was going to go take care of it himself. So Assad and Savant jump in the car with him. Like, if you're going, we're going. We all going to mess up our lives together, because that's his thing. He's like, nah, bro, you just got out of jail. You go back. And Assad, you supposed to be celebrating my nephew's life. And he's like... And they tell him, no, like, if you gonna fuck up your life, we going right with you. So he calms down and lets, security let them take care of it. But he's very upset. So Hassan and Vanna, because she shows up later. Anyway, she, like, put makeup on and you really can't tell that her face is bruised up. And they have a talk. Because they're like, we're going to have to be around each other for the sake of our quote-unquote family. So, let's just be cordial. And Hassan tells her that they could not try again or possibly be friends or anything like that because he no longer trusts her. Her ghosting him, that triggered his abandonment issues that he has from his childhood with his mother and being ignored. So it's just like, and they talked about that a little bit. So for her to do that, it's just like, I can't trust you with me, so no. And Vanna's mother is no better. The only thing her mother taught her was how to treat these men like they're nothing. Like, get them for money and sex and then be done with them. More so money. And she also doesn't believe in Vanna. Like, basically, she treats her more like as if she was her friend and not her daughter. She doesn't give her any moral support, like pep talks, none of that stuff. So, but while both of them claim that nothing is going to happen between the other, they become friends with benefits. Vanna is feeling stuck in her life because, Scarlett, she got out of that bad situation with Robert and Malcolm. She found Assad. She's pregnant. She's happy. She's in love. And she's doing what she wants to do now. And that just makes Vanna realize how much she's stuck. She used to want to be a nurse, and while she was going to nursing school, she got plastic surgery, and she had a guy paying for the plastic surgery, and she used the money that she had from other guys to fly her friends out to take care of her. It's like, I'm going to get this surgery, I'm going to fly you guys out to look after me, while she's in recovery. But they treated it more like a vacation and basically left her on her own. So that inspired her to want to open up a recovery house, more so for Black women who've had plastic surgery. And then also like women who've had any type of operation, but more so plastic surgery. And Hassan tells her, it's not too late to still make that happen. And after their conversation, she decides that she's going to go back to school. And she goes to talk to her mother to let her know. And this conversation, like, it really blew my mind. But so many people have, like, these life stories, and I'm just like, damn, I could not relate. So she tells her mom, like, I have some good news. And when she tells her that she's going to go back to nursing, her mother doesn't say anything. And, Vanna, she just continues. She's like, I'm hoping in a year or two I can start my first recovery house. Even though I don't have to be hands-on involved, I want to be. So I want to get back in the field and do some networking so I can make sure that I have the perfect team of people to help me. And after she says that, her mother laughs. and tells her that she's still weak-minded and that she's only going to quit again. You might as well just keep doing what you're doing. At least that's consistent money. And she's not surprised by this. Like, Vanna isn't surprised at all. Even though she wished she was. She knew that there was a better chance of her mom being negative than positive. And she asks her mom, why can't you just say you're proud of me for going back to what I love? Why do you always have to be such a pessimist? And mom's like, I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist. And I'm just telling you, what you need to hear. You're not going to go through with that. So why act like I'm happy for you or proud of you when I know it's going to fail? And Vanna tells her, you always seem to focus on the bad with me. What have you done good, Vanna? And this upsets Vanna, and she yells out, more than you. But it's like, Vanna, it seemed like you came looking for this. This would be something that would hold you back, because it's just like, you need one person to tell you, oh, you're no good at this, and it gives you a reason to throw in the towel. And then she accuses her mom of being jealous. And so she says, what do you have that I have to be jealous of? Vanna tells her, you're jealous because you wanted to live the life that I've lived. You wanted to be a nurse, but you couldn't cut it in school. I don't think you ever really wanted me to succeed at this. And her mother admits that she doesn't. And she blames Vanna because, she got pregnant with Vanna while she was a student, in medical school. And I'm just like, I don't understand. And this is what she says to her. She said, you're damn right. I wanted to be a nurse, but I couldn't cut it because of you. You're the reason I'm working at this damn clinic as a medical assistant instead of a nurse. And you think I want to sit here and listen to you talk about how you're going to do what I'll never be able to do? And it's like, girl, how do you blame your child? If you felt that way, you should not have had the child. And just like how Vanna stopped pursuing it at one point and she's deciding to go back, mama, you can also do the same thing. It's the fact that you feel like you're stuck and you refuse to go back for your dream. That's not her fault. You are the one that decided to have the child. You cannot blame your child for anything going on in your life if you are the parent. You made the decision to have that child, so you should have, made it happen. I don't know. But it's just like blaming your child for the reason your life not going the way you wanted it to makes no sense, because you have the choice, saying I can't deal with this while I'm trying to be in school, or I can't take care of a child. You have those type of choices. And so Vanna asks her, she's like, so that's my fault? I didn't keep you from making good grades. No one is keeping you from going back to school now. You know what I just said. Like, you just chose to be stuck in the position that you're in, and because you have resented your child since you've had her, you brought her up thinking, just get money from men and that'll get you through life or whatever. It's just like, it makes no sense. And so Vanna tells her, you're my mother. You're supposed to see the good and potential in me. You're supposed to uplift me, not tear me down. And all her mother has to say is, well, I'm not no cheerleader ass bitch. So if you came up here for that, you're not going to get it from me. And Vanna, unfortunately, she knows that. And like I said, I think she just went to go see her mom, so her mom could say, you can't do this. And basically, like, she's looking to be hurt. It's like, girl, you could have went to anybody else. And so she gets up and leaves, and Hassan calls her, but she's not trying to talk to him. But he keeps calling and asks her, what's wrong? And she tells him about the conversation. He's like, does that happen often? And she tells him, yeah. And he's like, so why didn't you go to anybody else but her? And she admits that she knew that her mom was going to be like that. And it's just like, girl. So anyway, girl. So Hassan goes to the birthday party of a little boy of a woman that he's messing around with. And he just has a thing for children's birthday parties. And it's like not on no creeper type vibes. It's once again another trauma from his childhood. And his mother, both of his parents, I'm not just going to blame it on Kirby, but the daddy too, because the daddy ain't shit either. You know, they had a messed up childhood. So now he just goes to birthday parties for the little hot dogs and juice and stuff, and to see kids running around playing. It makes him happy to see it. And so, you know, he doesn't see a problem pulling up. He brought the boy a toy. The boy knows who he is. But he notices that the mama keeps trying to get him to leave. Like, you know, oh, you don't have to stay. You can leave. You know, you can leave. Like, basically trying to push him out the door. And because he notices that, he decides to stay. And she admits that her and the dad, they weren't messing around when her and Hassan had sex. But now, like, they're back doing their thing. And the guy is really like a deadbeat, but wants to show up on the little boy's birthday playing daddy of the year. And he's inside the house. That's why she had him sitting outside, so they wouldn't interact with each other. And before he leaves, it's a situation because he sees the dad pulling on the girl's arm. So he goes inside and is like, you know, anything you have to say it to me. Don't whisper it to her, and don't direct it towards me. So the guy tries to swing on Hassan, but Hassan ducks and knocks the guy out, then pulls out a gun. But Rakeem, you know, calms him down like, you know, what you gonna do, shoot this man in front of all these kids? And that makes Hassan realize that he needs anger management, because it's like, I really could have killed a man in a room full of kids. I'm doing way too much. So, and it kind of threw me, because reading about him in the first book, like, he is just such a hothead, don't care about nothing. He's ready to fight any and everybody. And it's just like, when it's time for his own book, he's just much more, he has time to think about things. But in a side story, it's just like, I just knew Hassan was going to irritate my soul. But, well, we'll get there. So, like I said, he realizes that he needs anger management, although everybody has been telling him that from the beginning. So he goes and tells everyone, you know, like, I'm going to give myself some help. I need something, you know. And while I'm gone, Dijon is going to take over for him. And then he goes to tell Vanna that he will be gone for possibly 1 to 3 months to a secluded location that will have therapists who are there to specifically help black men without judging them. So, you know, they can get out their anger and anything that they have to say without people being afraid of them for simply raising their voice and getting out their frustration. So, a month and a half later, he's home, and his first stop is to Vanna. And as they're catching up, she realizes that she hasn't had her period, and he isn't concerned, because he's like, you know, you're on birth control, so what's the problem? And she says yes, but she also still has a cycle every month, so something is wrong. And she takes a pregnancy test, and it's positive. And Hassan tells her, you know, he's ready to commit. He wants her to move in. And it's not just because of the baby, because before she even told him that news, he had planned on asking her that anyway. And she's real hesitant because, you know, they both some players. Like, they're one and the same. They do the same thing. They're the female and male version of each other. So she's like, you know, are you really ready to commit to just me and want to be with me? Like, you know, I don't know. And I ain't trying to do all that and then it falls apart. So he gives her space and says, you know, you call me when you ready. So 3 weeks later, they go to the doctor to take another test, you know, to make it official. And it's still positive. So for some reason, I guess going to the doctor makes it real to her. And I'm only saying that because on Twitter, there are so many doctors on the timeline who tell, you know, they use the same like pregnancy test from the dollar store and all that type of stuff. So it's just like, you going to a doctor just because they got a lab coat on, they not doing no extra special shit. Like, taking a pregnancy test at home and then going to the doctor, you doing the same thing. So save yourself that doctor's bill and just take a pregnancy test from the dollar store. Oh yeah, that was a side note, sorry. Because on Twitter, that was the thing. Like, some girl made a tweet saying, you taking a pregnancy test from the dollar store proves that you're not ready to have a child. And it was like a few doctors in the reply saying, we use those same pregnancy tests from the dollar store in our offices. So, like, what is you saying? Anyway. And she told Hassan, you know, this makes it real to her now. So now she agrees to committing and moving in with him. Hassan gets a call from Assad, you know, to meet over at Kirby's house. And he goes over there, and they say that their dad, Colt, is going to call. So, you know, they're waiting for the phone to ring. And Hassan introduces Vanna to his mama as his woman and as the mother of his child. And Scarlett and Dejan, you know, they're so excited because Scarlett is like, you know, our babies are going to grow up together. And Vanna's like, yeah, they're even going to be cousins. So, you know, like, we are family. And then Colt calls and he tells them that he's ready to come back to the States. He missed the birth of his first grandchild, Maria, so he's not trying to miss the birth of the second one, being the one that's in Scarlett's belly right now. And they like, you not on vacation, nigga. Like, if you step foot back over here, it's a wrap. And you gonna cause trouble for us. And Colt, like, tells him, you know, you were supposed to already have things in store for me. And Assad is like, yeah, I'm still working on them. Like, you caused a lot of damage that I'm trying to fix. And all Colt says is that they have a year and he's coming back. So Kirby turns to Hassan and tells him that if Colt comes back and this jeopardizes the family, he better take care of it. So this confuses Vanna, and she's looking at him like, what does that mean? And is sure that he wouldn't kill his own father. And Hassan has to explain to her, like, he is the Don. So while Assad is the head of the family, Don is basically like, he takes care of things. So if Assad gives the order that he needs to take care of it, and if it means protecting the mafia, yes, he will have to kill his own father. You know, it's mafia over everything. And it wasn't until that moment she understood the severity of what it meant to be with him and be associated with the mafia. And I'm confused because I'm like, it's the mafia. Like, what are you? See, I need street and criminal men to get with like-minded people, because you getting people that are green to the situation don't help you. It's like, girl, you heard mafia. What did you thought that meant? And so for a second, she's just confused and like kind of pulls away from him, and he has to ask her, you know, so does that mean you don't want to be with me anymore, or you feel like I can't keep you safe? And she's like, no, that's not what that means. I know you can keep me safe. I just had to step back and clear my mind, but you know, it doesn't change anything between us, whoop-de-whoop, whatever. So Vanna has distanced herself from her mom, you know, because after, and I'm trying to understand, it's just like, it's nothing new, but I guess this one really hurt her feelings. The mom texts her, like, saying, you know, your little sisters want to see you, so can you stop by? So she stops by on her way to work, and as soon as her mama steps in the room, she's being petty, asking Vanna, you know, if she's still mad, and then, like, she's trying to blow her off, like, lady, I'm not even trying to go there with you, like, I don't even know why you bothering me. And Vanna tells her sisters that she's pregnant. And then the mom has to say something else. She's like, oh, you held out longer than I thought you would. I just knew you was going to get pregnant in high school. And Vanna just stands up and leaves. And she tells her, if you want a future relationship with me or my baby, you need to watch the way you speak to me. And the mom is kind of shocked, I guess, at the fact that she's putting her foot down. And Vanna leaves. So lately, Vanna and Hassan, they've been real busy. Her with working, I want to say second shift or even third shift, because she works like into the night. And, Hassan doing what he got to do. She drops some food off to him, and after she leaves, his client tells him, do not let work get in the way of your relationship. Make time for your partner. No matter what you got to do not let work be above the relationship. So when it's time for her break, he has one of the hospital rooms set up for like a picnic, and they have a talk. And they've discussed it, but they're just like, reiterating that she is taking her third trimester off plus 6 months after. So it's just like, that's giving her a lot of time to bond with the baby and just relax. Then on Valentine's Day, Hassan hands her a little envelope with a picture of a realtor and tells her, that's who will be helping her find the building of her recovery house. And, she's real overwhelmed. Like, you don't have to do this. You already done enough. And he's like, you've given me you giving me more than I can ever ask for. Like, the shit that I'm doing for you ain't really nothing. And so soon after, they're in the lovey-dovey phase. And as she's getting deeper into her pregnancy, he has to go out for the night. And he notices that the woman he was trying to get with before Vanna is acting different that night. Like, he wanted, I think her name was Malia, because I kept calling her old girl, because it's just like, that bitch ain't important. He wanted her bad. Like, he was always flirting with her, trying to get her to go out with him, all that type of stuff. And she would not pay him no mind, saying she don't date gangsters, she don't date niggas in the mafia. So it was a no-go. So this night, like, she's shaking and shit, and he's like noticing this. And so he follows her, like, when she goes down to the hallway for employees, and he's like, are you all right? And she tells him, no, I got a crazy ex. I think he followed me here, and he's waiting on me outside for when I get off. So, of course, they gonna look out for a woman, and they got the security on it, and he follows her home to make sure that she's all right. So the next day, Vanna is going out for lunch with Scarlett and Dijon, and he's just moping around the apartment. Now, she's asked him once, what's wrong? What's the matter? And he says nothing, it's cool. But before she leaves, she's like, I'm going to ask you one more time. Is everything okay? And he tells her that he almost cheated the night before, and explains the situation. And it's like, she was really grateful for me helping her out, but I stopped it. And I don't know how many more times I'm going to be able to stop it. So I don't really think that this relationship is going to work out. So she tells him, thank you for telling me, and just let me know right now if you want it to be over with, because I'm telling you now, I don't get mad, I get even. So if you cheat on me, I'm going to do it 10 times worse and really hurt your feelings. So if this ain't what you want to do, let me know, and we can co-parent, and that'll be that. But it'll be on good terms, because we ended the relationship before you cheated on me. And so he's like, no, I love you. Why would I give up this relationship? And, no, we good. I'm just telling you what could have happened. And so when she leaves out, it's kind of like at a standstill. It ain't really like definitive of what's going on. So at lunch now, she's the one moping, and she tells Scarlett and Dijon, what he told her, and make them promise not to say anything. It's like, I'm not trying to get y'all involved, but I'm gonna be really fucked up if he cheats on me, because like I said, they one and the same. So they really ain't about relationships, about being with just one person. So for her to put her all into this and to possibly be played is messing with her. So Dejan, like Scarlett promises, she's like, yeah, I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm following your lead. Dejan says, I can't promise you that. Like, that's my blood brother, but you're my chosen sister, and I want y'all to stay together. So, no, I'm sorry. I'm not promising that I'm not going to say anything. And so she pulls up on him at the strip club where he's counting money and tries to talk some sense into him. Like, do not cheat on her. Why would you mess up what you have for somebody who ain't paid you no attention, and then out of the blue, just because you helped her, now she's trying to give you some sympathy pussy. And he asked, why not? Like, why should I not risk it, or why should I not do it? And at that moment, even as his sister, I would have got up and left. Like, obviously it ain't no talking to you. You want to do this anyway. And he's trying to justify it as, it ain't nothing but pussy. Like, it ain't gonna be a problem even if I do it. Like, what's the big deal? But it's like, you and your girlfriend have already had a conversation about this, so you know what the big deal is, and she has told you beforehand that she will not deal with cheating. So you trying to simplify it and downplay it as just being pussy do not help the situation. So, and as they're talking, old girl calls him again, and Dejan just leaves. She's like, fine, you finna fuck up your own life. And old girl is claiming, like, she on the highway, and she's claiming that the ex is following behind her at that point. She knows him. So, he giving her instructions, like, do this, do that, don't go to your house, I'm finna pull up, I'ma help you, whatever. So, he gets her to a parking lot, they talk for a minute, and then he trails her back to her house and tells her, you need to get this taken care of. And she's like, I am. My brother's driving up tomorrow, and he's going to help me take care of this. Whoop-de-whoop, whatever. And then she asks him to stay until she falls asleep. And I'm trying to understand why he didn't leave, but he wants to do this. So, of course, he's not going to leave right there. And everybody keeps telling him, like, no, don't do this. Don't, like, why are you purposely messing this up? And he's still acting like he doesn't see the big problem. So, of course, she cannot fall asleep. So they start drinking. And he ends up passing out. So he passes out and wakes up to her giving him head. And instead of stopping it right there, he has sex with her anyway. And then when it's over, the condom is almost off. So he goes and buys a plan B, because she swears up and down, I'm in school. I don't want to get pregnant. I don't have time for kids. I do not want to get pregnant. So he goes and buys the plan B. So he's been acting weird after that. It's just like he stays out until Vanna is in the bed, and when she wakes up and is getting ready, like, for her day, he's heading out the door. So she asks him, like, is there something that you want to tell me? Because she's second guessing herself at this point, like, is it my pregnancy? Am I getting on his nerve? Does he want his house back? Did he finally realize that this was too soon for him, and this is not something he really wants to do? So when she asks him, like, is there something that you want to tell me? Is there something that you want to do? He says, no, everything is cool. It's just work. And says, I'll get off earlier so we can go on a date. And she's like, no, I'm not trying to interfere with your business, but just, let me know what's going on. Because I feel like you don't really want to be here. You really don't want me here. So they go out on a date, and it's great. But she notices that his phone has been ringing constantly. And so she tells him, tell that bitch that you're not available right now, and that she don't dictate your time. And he, like, holds out the phone like, here, because he had cut it off, because it's ringing so much. And he's like, here, turn it on. You'll see that it's just business. But like I said, they're one and the same. So she knows what he's doing. Because if she turn on that phone, it's going to be something that she really don't want to see, and it's going to hurt her feelings. And then he going to turn that into her not trusting him and having to check his phone and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. So she looks at him, laughs, and gets up and walks out. Because she's like, nigga, you really playing with me, and I want to bust you in your face right now, but I'm just going to walk away. So he waits till the next day where he can't find Vanna. She's not in the house. He ain't talked to her. And then he calls old girl back, and she's claiming to be pregnant. He's like, how, when I bought you a plan B? And she's like, well, my brother showed up the next day, and we was trying to take care of those things, and everything just got so crazy that by the time I remembered, it was past the 3-day mark. And she claims to only be 3 days late, like past her cycle. So he's like, you know, you might not even be pregnant, so what is you calling me for? You know, like, so hype about this. And she keeps saying, you know, I can't have a baby. I don't want to have a baby. I'm going to have an abortion. So it's like, so what are you calling me for? If you plan on getting an abortion, you could just get an abortion and not call me. But the thing is, Hassan tells her, you know, I don't want to lose my baby. So if you don't want the baby, you could just give it to me. And it's like, nigga, what? What are you talking? Anyway, so he tells her, you know, let's wait a few weeks and then we'll take basically the same thing that he did with Vanna. It's like claiming to be pregnant, then waiting 3 weeks to take another test, and it's still positive. So when he goes home, Vanna is there cooking dinner. You know, she's in a good mood. She got the old school playing. And she's like, you know, I'm cooking as my way of apologizing for being insecure when I'm thinking that you're cheating and you're not. And he just comes out and says, I did cheat. And she's pregnant, but it didn't mean anything. And I'm just like, I hate who niggas get on my nerves. Like, why do y'all love to throw that out there after you've already done it? Like, it didn't mean anything. I didn't care about her. I love you. It showed me how much, like, sliding in another bitch's pussy shows you how much you loved me. And it was at that moment that you realized you didn't want to, like, as you're fucking up the relationship, this is when you realize you don't want to fuck up the relationship. Like, make it make sense. And it's like, as soon as she hears those words, she's devastated. And at the fact that the girl is pregnant, she's just like, okay, I'm leaving, because if I don't leave, I'm going to try to fight you. And so as she's trying to walk out the door, he's pulling her back, and, you know, she is so upset. She punches him in the face and tells him that they are over. Like, do not talk. Like, we're going to co-parent, and we're even going to get, like, the courts involved, get some visitation set up. But this, we are over. And I'm just like, it pisses me off, because, like, in the book, it's like, ooh, beloved, you got me in my feelings. Because he turns around because he doesn't want to see her technically walk out of his life, and now he realizes that old girl wasn't worth it. Nothing was worth losing Vanna. So it's like, you had everybody in your corner telling you that. You even had your own personal conversations with Vanna, but you just had to have sex with this girl. And it ain't nothing but him being a man and finally getting a woman that played like she didn't want him after all that time. It's like he just had to have, like, basically say he got the girl. But it's like, you had a good ass woman. Like, anyway, let's move on. So Vanna goes to Assad's restaurant, and she just start punching old girl. Well, no, she gives her a chance. She walks straight up to her and says, put your hands up. Old girl said, I'm not finna fight you. Vanna like, cool, well, I'm fighting you. And she pulls her hair back and punches her in the face 3 times. And Assad and Rakeem come over and, like, try to pull them apart. But she, like, punches her again and kicks her in the face. Because it's like, this ain't nothing new. Old girl knew that they were together, like Vanna and Hassan were together, and that she was pregnant with a baby. So it's just like, you slept with my man knowing that he was my man on some petty shit. So yeah, I'm here to whoop your ass. But then she leaves. And then, you know, like, she's been keeping her distance from everybody, just going to work and going back home. Because she kept, I meant to say that at the beginning, she kept her apartment that she had while she was living with Hassan. Because it's just like, she didn't want the situation with the other guy that she got into the physical altercation with to happen again. So it's like, if I have to move, I will have a place to stay, and I just won't be like out on my own with nobody to with nothing to fall back on. Not nobody, with nothing to fall back on. So one day she's at the mall and she runs into Rakeem, who sits down with her and is like, you know, my man, he is doing bad, and I feel like he learned his lesson. But this is another thing that really fucked me up, because he tells her, like, you know, Hassan has always been a cheater and slept with a lot of women. So the fact that he wasn't sleeping with a woman every day of the week while y'all were together is really a good thing. It's like, the fact that he only cheated once, like, give my man some slack. And it's just like, this is men's logic, like, for real. The fact that he is so used to sleeping with so many different women that when he committed and did not sleep with a lot of women and he only slept with one, like, basically she should be grateful. And it's like, no, that nigga could have just stayed single and said that he didn't want to do this, because she said that multiple times. He was the one who swore that he was ready. So if he was not ready, he should not have done it. That has nothing to do with her. And she basically tells him the same thing. So it's just like, oh, I should be grateful and I should just take him back. And basically he says, no, that's not what I'm telling you. What I'm saying is, if you take him back after this, I believe that he learned his lesson, and that you guys, like, your relationship will be what you thought it was in the beginning. It will be basically for real this time. So anyway, he's let Hassan, I keep saying Hassan, lets old girl come to his place, because he usually doesn't let anybody come to his house. But he's let her come to talk about the baby. And he had called Vanna just before this, because she's coming to pick up her iPad. But he figured he could talk to old girl, get her out the way. By the time Vanna gets there to pick up her iPad, he can convince her to get something to eat. But when he opens the door for old girl, there's 5 men behind her. And he realizes that it's a setup. So she's not pregnant, which, of course, there was no crazy ex. That was her cousin. It was all part of a plan. In the first book, Savant, like, when he got out of jail, he opened up a new club. And at that opening, there was a guy there talking about, fuck the mafia, you know, ain't nobody worried about them, let me in. And Hassan heard that and knocked the guy out, and they were outside. So that man fell on concrete, and he was brain dead for like 6 months until his mother pulled the plug. And that man is old girl's brother's best friend. So old girl's brother set this up, like forcing her or influencing her to sleep with him, and set this up so he can get inside his house. Because the dude said, oh, at first he was just going to kill him at his sister's apartment, but he wanted to come to his house and rob him so he can sell the stuff and give the money to the dead man's mama. So he like, what? Okay. So he knows that Vanna is coming, so he decides, you know, let me do this. So if they're going to kill me, he'll be dead by the time she gets there, but they'll be long gone, so they won't hurt her and his baby. So he leads them to his safe and pulls out a gun and starts shooting back. He's shot 5 times, while I think he shot a couple, and then like the other two or three that were in the back, they didn't even have weapons, so they just ran up out of there. So with Vanna being on her way, you know, she's the one who found him laid out, and she rode in the ambulance with him, but at the hospital they won't tell her anything. You know, she has to get information from the family. Now Hassan asks her what happened, but she doesn't know because Hassan didn't tell anyone that he had anybody coming over, so she doesn't know who did this. But Hassan, like, they have security tapes, and then he has his own personal security tapes. So while he's in the hospital recovering, they go to his apartment and watch those tapes because Vanna had the password. And they see old girl and see the 5 men. So of course, you know, they're going to find her and find them and get it taken care of. So while Hassan was shot 5 times, only 2 of those shots were possibly fatal, but he pulled through, he made it out. And when he gets out of the when he wakes up, and Vanna goes in there to see him, because he almost died, she realized how short life was, and she doesn't want to be without him, so they're going to make a go of this again. So when he gets out of the hospital, they throw a welcome home party, and he tells them, because, you know, they like go outside to have a meeting, and he says, I'm going to be down for the next 6 to 8 months because he has to have physical therapy, because where he was shot at 5 times, it's something with his foot, his leg, and his hands. And, you know, Vanna's going to have the baby soon, so he was planning on taking some time off for that anyway. So he is having Dejan step into his place, you know, while he's gone. And at first she's not comfortable with it because she's like, you know, mom, her and Savant's mom is going to have something to say about it. And they're like, girl, we don't care about that. Like, are you going to step in and help the family or not? And she tells Savant, you know, as long as you help me, I'll be willing to do it. And Rakeem tells her, you know, like, I'm going to be at your back with security. And Hassan is like, you could basically have anybody else watch over her. It ain't got to be you, because they've been messing around, and you know how he feel about that. He do not want his sister with his best friend. And all he says is, you want her to have the best, right? Well, I'm in, and I'm going to be looking out for her. And we end with Vanna and Hassan expressing how much they love each other. And that's it. And the next story will be Dejan's story, which I think is like a love triangle situation. So I can't wait to see what she has going on. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my review, enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you back next week for a Heart's Rejection. Loving a Black Mafia princess. Yes. So, peace and blessings, my beautiful people.